We're already halfway through the year. Hey guys, welcome back. I am just so... I don't know the word. I can't believe we're halfway through the year already. I feel like it's the fall still. Like, I don't know, time just really flew this year, which I'm not really complaining. Nothing much has been going on, so let the time fly. But we're halfway through the year, so that means we're gonna do the book Midyear Freakout Tag, and I'm kind of hype about it. So this is a tag that I've been watching for years now, and it's basically a series of questions to kind of wrap up your year so far. So like your best books, your worst books, you know, what you plan on reading for the second part of the year, things like that. And I've seen people change up the questions, so these are just the questions I'm gonna answer, but let's go ahead and get started. So the first question is, what is the best book that you've read so far in 2025? And I have a couple because I really can't pick, but the first one is Green Teeth, and I loved this book. Okay, this book made me feel all the feels. It was so good. It was just so cute. Like, it was such a good fantasy. I loved the characters, I loved the story, I loved the themes behind it. So check that one out. Plus this cover is, it's just beautiful. I also went ahead and I read the first book in the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. My friend is borrowing my copy of it right now, but that's the 5th season, and I wasn't surprised that I loved it because I love her writing. I can say while I ate this up and I do really like it, and I'm in the middle of the second book, I do still think that I like her other series more so far. We'll see how I feel by the end of it, but very good, amazing. Like, there's still the like political fantasy in it, but there's a lot more. Like, the magic system is just, it's astounding. It's mind-boggling. It's crazy to wrap your head around, but it's so beautiful. I loved the story in it. That one was also a very good one. And I think the last video I uploaded was about this, but I also ate up the Shepherd King duology. I loved this duology, and it's definitely some of the best books I've read all year. The next question is the best sequel you've read this year, and I've probably read maybe like 2 books that would be considered, you know, next in a series, and one of them we'll talk about in a minute. But obviously you guys, you know, probably already guessed it, I loved Two Twisted Crowns. I know a lot of people like this one better than the first one. I don't really know though, because I loved the first one, but I also loved this one. But yeah, this was probably the best sequel I've read all year. It was so good. The next question is your least favorite or the worst book that you've read this year. And I have 2 answers for this because one of them was a DNF, so I don't really know if that counts, and then one of them I did actually read. And as far as the DNF, that was Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I couldn't stand this, okay? I thought the writing was so disgusting. Like, I don't know the word for it. I know this is like super hyped up on Book Talk. Like, all the Book Talk girlies love this book. I think it was literally last night I was laying in bed on Facebook and I saw Bryn Weaver is about to turn this into a movie or a show. As long as they get a different script writer, like, okay, maybe it will work, but I just did not like the writing in that. And I think that was my biggest problem with this, was the writing, and like them as characters were so annoying. I felt like as far as the themes in this and the mature content and the gore, it should not have been written as if we were reading 10-year-olds. Like, they were just so annoying. And again, I DNF'd it. I didn't even get that far. Like, I was dragging. I could not get to this. I don't know why people are so hyped up about this book. Trust me, I read dark romance. If you want to read good dark romance, there is some out there. Not this. Not this. Now, the book that I actually finished that I really did not like this year, I actually have a whole vlog dedicated to, you can go check out, and that was The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I just was really disappointed with this book. I think I rated it so low because I was just so angry, and even now thinking back, I'm not gonna raise the rating at all because I'm still mad about it. Like, it had so much potential and I did like it at first, but Again, I'm not going to keep ranting about it. You can go watch that video and hear more of my detailed spoiler opinions on this book, but I felt like it was really predictable. I didn't like the main character. I didn't like the whole ending and how he tied it up in a big fat bow. It just was not realistic at all. And I know books don't always have to be, but this, no. Did not like it, which is crazy because, again, opinions are opinions. My friend just read this and loved it, so take that with a grain of salt, but this was my least favorite book that I read all year. The next question is a new release that you're excited to read but you haven't yet, and for me that's easily The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is the same author as the Shepherd King duology, which I will talk about several times in this video. I loved it so much. I loved the gothic fantasy vibes. The writing was so easy yet beautiful, and I read it very quickly. I loved all the characters. The magic in those books was great. So when I saw that they just released a new book, I obviously had to get it. Plus it's like the prettiest cover I think I own now. I'm obsessed with it. But I heard Rachel Gillig gothic fantasy again and I picked it up immediately, so I need to get into this. I don't know what it's about. This was an immediate buy. I think she's a new favorite author. I just loved it. Another one that I'm pretty excited about, I actually just got in my book subscription box this month, and that's Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. And I was never one of those people that jumped on the V.E. Schwab fan train. I've never read one of her books. I do own quite a few of them, but this is a new release, just came out this month, and it sounds like it's gothic and vampires and queer, and I don't know, it just sounds pretty good. I actually was just recommending this as one of our book club picks. It didn't end up getting picked, but I am still nonetheless very excited to get to this. So the next question is your most anticipated read for the second half of the year. So this is like a book that hasn't yet come out, and I don't personally keep up with books like that unless it's like a series that I'm like die hard into and I know when the next book's coming out and this and that. But I do know that Riley Sager is coming out with a new book. I don't know what it's called, so I'll put it up here. But I am very excited for that because he is my favorite thriller writer and I do tend to really enjoy his books. So I am really excited for that. As far as any other new books, I really don't know. I just kind of see them when I see them. So yeah. Another more negative question is your biggest disappointment of the year. And while I was disappointed in The Maidens, I just didn't like it. Any of it. My actual biggest disappointment that I was looking forward to, again, in that same video, was Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I had this pre-ordered months and months in advance. I was so excited for it, you know. Fourth Wing, you're not here for good writing and, you know, amazing literature. You're here for good vibes, and I loved book 1 and 2. I ate them up so fast, so I was really excited for book 3, and it was the biggest letdown I think I've ever had. Like, I was very upset. You know, I had a trip planned for this year that ended up getting canceled, and I think this was just as bad a letdown as that was, and that's really saying something because I was excited for that trip. But this book, it's so beautiful too, and like I love the story and I loved the characters, but this one just really fell flat. It was just all over the place. She didn't know what she was talking about, where she was going with it. You could definitely tell that it's a filler book, and I was not a fan. I really wasn't. I don't even think there was a single scene that I was like, oh wow, I like that. It just, none of it freaking made sense to me. I also don't feel like it progressed the story in any way. I just felt like it was very much a filler book, and you could tell. So it was a really big disappointment. Now my biggest surprise for the year was Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. I don't know, I hear the word cozy fantasy and I get scared. I don't know why, because I'm someone that likes the drama, I like the fighting, I like the politics in a book. So I hear cozy fantasy and I hear that it's like mellow and, you know, the plot lines are a little chiller and there's not as much craziness going on, so I always get scared. I read it, and guys, I loved it. It was one of my favorite books I've read so far this year. I just thought it was so good, and I was thoroughly surprised by that, because again, I hear cozy and I get nervous because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be boring. No, it was so good. It made me feel all the feels. I cried, I laughed, I felt happy. It was just So good. The next question is favorite new authors that you have found out about this year. And for me, that would be Molly O'Neill. Green Teeth, I believe, was their debut release, and I've already said it 3 million times so far in this video. I loved it. And also Rachel Gillig. Again, have already said it as well. I read her Shepherd King duology. I'm really excited to read her new release. I loved her writing, the gothic vibes, the fantasy, the cool, unique magic systems. So both of those authors are definitely new automatic buys. I'm very excited to see what Molly O'Neill releases next, and I am very excited to get to Rachel Gillig's new book. The next question is your newest fictional crush. Okay, and I feel like a cliche girl saying it, but I usually, you know, crush on the same people other people are in books. But I do have to admit, I loved Raven Yu in the Shepherd King duology. I just loved him, and I loved his cousin, which I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, but I loved his cousin too. Both of those guys, I loved them. They had me cheesing, okay? I was so excited. But on a less, you know, obvious note, I actually was really crushing hard on Alabaster from the 5th season. I don't know why, but I just really, really liked him. And he was making me giggle. He was so sarcastic, but he was so smart. Like, too smart for his own good. But, like, he was funny and arrogant, but in a good way. I don't know why I was so attracted to it, but I loved it. I thought he was a fun character. So if you guys haven't read the 5th season, you should, because Alabaster was a funny guy and I loved it. The next question is similar, and it's your newest favorite character, and mine is going to be Jenny Greenteeth from Green Teeth. I loved her as a character. You know, she's very isolated from the real world. You know, she just lives in her lake and does her thing, and you know, when she meets this human girl and ends up deciding to help her and they go on their journey, she actually discovers what friendship is, and they have their goblin friend, and it was just so good. And she made leaps and bounds in her character throughout the book, and I just loved her. Like, she was so funny. You know, she's sitting there like eating raw fish and she's like, oh, maybe this is scaring my human, you know, my human friend. I just really liked her as a character, and I loved the improvement that she made throughout the story and dealing with the things that she dealt with. It made my heart happy. The next question is a book that made you cry, and for me that is, again, I feel like I'm talking about the same books, the Shepherd King duology. Both of them had me sobbing my eyes out. I just thought it was so beautiful how everything wrapped up, and the love and the magic in it. And also Green Teeth, again, I loved Jenny's improvement throughout the book. It just made you emotional. It was just so good. To piggyback off that question, the next one is a book that made you happy, and again, Green Teeth made me so happy, made me feel all the feels. I loved the friendship in it, the story, the trying to save your family. I adored it. But next to Green Teeth is The Hobbit. I reread this for the first time since I was in elementary school, and not surprisingly, it just makes you feel good. Like, it's just so good. I love Bilbo as a character. I love the dwarves, I love the friendship, I love everything about it. So this one obviously made me happy, and then I went and watched the movies again. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I see a lot of different variations of this tag, a lot of different questions. Those are just the ones I really felt like I had a book I really wanted to tell you about that fit the question perfectly. But to wrap up this video, the last question I have is books that you need to get to before the year ends. And I have a lot, obviously, but I do have my goals for the year, and those include, I want to read a John Gwynne book. I need to. I also really want to read a Joe Abercrombie book, so any of those ones. I also really want to read all of Riley Sager's books. I think I have 3 that I haven't read, and I know the second half of the year he has his new release coming out, so I do want to do that. But my biggest goal for the end of the year is I want to read all of the Throne of Glass books by Sarah J Maas. Call me a fake fan, but I've never read them, okay? I was reading ACOTAR as they were being published. Like, I remember when they came out, so I like to brag that I'm a real fan. I don't know why they got so popular over the last couple years on social media and everything, because they were always good books and they've been out for years. I feel like a real fan saying that I was reading them as they were coming out, but I digress. Anyway, I plan on reading the Throne of Glass books this year because I have not read those by her, and I do want to read most of her books by the end of the year. So I need to read Throne of Glass, and then if I have time with all the other reading I'm doing, I do want to try to get to her Crescent City books because, again, I've only read ACOTAR, so I really want to do that. And if I'm being real honest, I also really want to reread ACOTAR because I never read the newest book, Silver Flames. I wanted to do a reread before I read it, and also, as an OG fan, I hated Nesta. I hated her so much in the books, so I really don't know how I'm gonna like reading a whole book dedicated to her. I think she redeemed herself some. But again, I want to reread the whole series before I read the newest one, so my plans are really to read a lot of Sarah J Maas at the end of the year, to be honest. But that is the last question I have for this mid-year book freakout tag, and I hope you guys are doing amazing. I hope your reading year is going well. Let me know what you guys are reading. I am always curious to hear other people's opinions. Fun fact, I don't know if I told you guys, I started a neighborhood book club and I've had so much fun with it. Kind of being a leader makes me feel like responsible. I know that's so silly, but it makes me feel good. Also having other women, because it's mostly women in our club, but having other people to talk to books about in person and not just to you guys has been very therapeutic, and I love it. We just read a cute little summer romance. Wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it was still really good, and I'm really excited about this month's pick. So that has been a cute little update in my life. But anyway, tell me what you guys are reading. If you guys have read any of these books, tell me what you thought. Please read Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill, okay? I'm telling you, it's so good. It was a newer release this year, and it's fabulous. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up because we all know I have a problem ending videos, but hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.